but this is all about teaching you certain things about African drama. We'll be dealing with different books, and we're going to involve the brains of literary enthusiasts and many who are in love with the field of literature. On today's episode, being the first episode, I am graced with Professor Wole Soyinka'S The Lion and the Jewel. That is going to, or rather, this is going to be our first book for our analysis. And I have an enthusiast, basically a brainiac who has been motivated. I wouldn't say all his life though, but I would say I for sure know that he is truly interested in the works of Professor Wole Soyinka, and his name is Bolakale. I know him as Bolakale. He is a great mind in the field of literature, and he and I will be discussing about this piece today. We'll talk about the themes, we'll talk about the plot, we'll talk about some literary elements, and probably some things that people never knew that this book possessed. Okay, so now Bolakale, yes, I am going to bring Bolakale now on board to join me on the network is going to be kind to us at this point. So we get to get this over and done with successfully. That's the main thing. We should get this done successfully without drama. Connecting simply means that we're almost there. Hello, Bola. Finally.
Hi, UVIE'S. It's very cool to be here. Hello, everyone.
I am excited. You know, it came to a point that I almost lost my patience, and I was like, you know what? Forget it. But then I just realized that we are all in love with literature way too much to give up at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's the problem with technological singularity. The computers want to take over, and we have to let them at this junction.
The Sophocles English has come on board. Anyways, we are discussing Professor Wole Soyinka's Lion and the Jewel, and I know very much that you are an enthusiast in the field of literature. At the same time, I know that you are strongly inspired by his works. So, before you start speaking, I would like to just clearly state one fact, the fact that it's a rebel comedy and it's written in poetry form. Now, tell me, what do you think about this masterpiece?
Okay, thank you very much. Personally, I consider Lion and the Jewels, I consider it Wole Soyinka's lightest comedy. The one comedy where he downplays politics. Unlike his other successful work, like let's say The Trials of Brother Joe and the rest of them, there is a comedic essence, for a lack of better word, in The Lion and the Jewel. It's playful, it's the setting is rustic, properly rustic, and it draws significantly from the pastoral sensibility of Africans at the period the play is set. So I consider it a strong representative work of art. Like the appropriations are normal, they are moderate, and they speak true to life.
Okay, so now let's talk about the plot of the work itself. Like you rightly said, rustic, at the same time, fantastic comedy. So it's a simple piece of art. Honestly, I actually consider it one of his simplest works, considering how sophisticated Soyinka'S is. And in further analysis of this piece, we understand that it has 3 different acts, which is actually set as morning, noon, and night.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we are dealing with the characters of Sidi, Lakunle, the wife, Sadiku, and Baruka, whom is the lion himself. Yes. And these are basically the key characters here in, and then Aisha too, who is also the favorite of Baruka.
But then, Baruka is.
Yes, but it's not like she's not of any essence at all. She's definitely
Mm-hmm.
significant to the entire thing. But either
Mm-hmm.
ways, let's start from the first act, which is mourning. Now,
Okay.
if you were to analyze that specific scene, there was an initial introduction, CD coming in, and then Lakunle running after her. This is a school teacher running after CD, the village belle, with a pail of water on her head, and then he now goes straight wooing her. The comic scene itself, the comic presentation is just quite interesting. He just goes straight to wooing her, starts blabbing and blasting her with his perception on modernization, or rather what a woman should be like in a civilized sense
Mm-hmm.
outside of
Mm-hmm.
tradition. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think about that presentation?
Yeah, I think Lakunle brings his ideas to bear in that scene. From the get-go, he's introduced to us as a modern man, someone who is educated, unlike the average villager. And then he comes with these quote and unquote innovative ideas. A woman should not put a pail on her head. And then he was trying to convince CD of this. I think the exposition at that point is Soyinka'S attempt at familiarizing the reader with his characters. That's the first time we
Mm,
meet Lakunle. Like we see, okay, Lakunle is the village headmaster in quotes,
yeah,
like the guy who has all the ideas, the foreign ideas, who has read a lot of books, and then, but at the same time, we see that CD is a little bit ambivalent about him. She's
totally.
neither here nor there. You understand? She's not exactly into him like that. At the same
She
time,
enjoys attention.
pardon me.
She enjoys the attention.
Yes, yes, yes. She's just like the average attention-seeking lady. Manner she leaves. Someone came in and then the village that the stranger took a photograph is back with magazines bearing her pictures, and she, she was happy. That lens superficial. I said that's about exposing so we see Lakunle as idealistic. He has all the ideas about how a modern society should be. And then the village belle as the span, and then at the same time, she's attention seeking. So very, very key.
Egotistic with her status as a village belle.
Yes, yes, yes. I think I consider her the how will I describe this? I consider her the best, the fully realized character. Easily manipulated. A character is perfect for me. True
Okay,
to
so
life.
if you describe her, if you're just let's talk about, okay, as let's we will get to talk about each character as soon as we deal with every act and scene.
Okay.
But like you rightly said, the
Okay.
first act was a revelation, or rather, Wole Soyinka'S way of characters to work. We now get to see, let's go down to Noon now. Okay, Noon is where the
Okay.
second act is, and this is where Sidi and Lakule meet with Sadiku. Sadiku is
Okay.
the first wife of Baruka. who supposedly was the wife, the last wife, the favorite of Baruka's father. So he inherited his father's wife, and she supposedly he's what you call people who will help you to he basically helps she recruits women for him as his wife. Now we just get to witness different things that plays with these people, three different generations, or rather two separate generations. Sadiko, who is of an older generation, Lakunle, the present generation, and Sidi also existing still in that same generation, but then still has the same perception as Sadiko. Meanwhile, Lakunle has a different perception about life, considering that he is more intense on civilization and how a woman should be on a westernized platform, while these other people are quite traditional. Now, um, how would you figuratively describe this act, this encounter between these three people?
I believe this act crystallizes everything for us. We see
Okay.
Sadiku as the epitome of the older generation. She comes in, she plays the role of the woman who goes out to get um, the wife or a new wife for her husband, which is,
Husband.
an age-long tradition. They don't practice that. I don't know if how do I put it? She epitomizes that older generation. It is this generation where Lakunle believes if he's interested in a woman, he should be the one to talk to the woman himself.
Yes.
And then we have Sadiko recruiting a new wife for her husband, um, Baroka. So that scene for me again, the known scene again, says a lot about there is more to play on tradition, on the generation gap between the two pairs of characters. So that's how
Mm.
I view the scene.
Then in the same act, we see Baruka play his skills, where he gets to tell Sadiko that he is impotent because he basically understands the entire scheme. Now, that scene baffles me. It baffles me because if there's anything that Professor Wole Soyinka highlighted there is the old. That adage of what the old can see when sitting down, the young cannot see
Mm-hmm.
while standing up. I really don't know if I
Yes.
put that correctly.
Yeah, I do. Yes, yes.
It basically portrayed the fact that an older person understands how to handle some of these situations based on experiences. Now, Baroka
Mm-hmm.
comes on board knowing fully who Sadiku is, knowing very much that she cannot keep anything to herself, she cannot keep a secret,
That's right.
reveals to her a secret that he is impotent.
Important.
That's the message he gave to her, and then she feeling all excited, she couldn't just help herself. Now that we get to witness eventually, but how do you display this specific tactic displayed by Baruka to capture CD?
I think it's good old-fashioned manipulation. And like I said at the beginning, Wole Soyinka perfectly captures the essence of that period.
Hmm.
It was a period where, um, let me call it the age of wisdom. You know, it was the age of wisdom, and Baroka. In fact, we I don't know, maybe we'll do that later. We have to look at it allegorically. Baroka is a
Definitely.
lion.
Yes.
The lion doesn't just go around to. The lion is very crafty when it comes to hunting its prey.
We pray.
And then the perfect instrument for him to achieve that is his loud-mouthed wife, oldest wife, Sadiko.
Radical.
And then he deploys Sadiko as his contrivance for achieving his objective, his aim.
Mm.
And as we later get to find out, it was very, very successful. So I think the so Baruka there is manipulates the entire situation for his personal benefit. So
Yeah.
I think that's a very significant point in the play again.
You know, I like the fact that you are talking about the allegory that is involved. And it's something that we will get to talk about in a couple of minutes as soon as we are done with analyzing each character. But then now let's go to the final act itself. And then the final act is night. Okay. And at this moment, this is
Yeah.
when Sadiko comes with a figgy to the tree, and Sidi is there looking and admiring her magazine. And then she now sees Sadiko coming to laugh, rather mock the effigy of Baruka and yelling about his impotency. Now, let's talk about this initial scene entirely. Would you say that perceptions of women as loudmouths? Like basically, you cannot keep a secret with a woman.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Yes,
Hello?
yes, I can hear you,
Yeah, I can hear
Tola.
you. I can hear you. I'm
Fantastic. I said,
sorry.
would you
There was a
say,
network issue. Can you repeat the
I
question,
can,
please?
yes, I said, now if we were to pick that scene where Sadiko and
Okay.
Sidi get again, and Sadiko was mocking
Okay.
Baruka with the figgy in front of the tree
Okay.
about his impotency.
Okay.
Now, this is on a light note
Okay.
here. Would you say that Wole Soyinka was just trying to display or depict the fact that women cannot be trusted with secrets?
Well, I don't know. It's one of the let me call it unkind stereotypes about women
Mm,
that women have you know basket for mouth.
yeah.
But I think it goes beyond that too. You know, the virility of a man, or let me say, is the potency of a man is tied to his existence. That is why we say, you hear expressions like he's not a man. You
Mm,
understand? He's not a man
yeah.
to to represent someone who is considered impotent or someone who is impotent. He's not a man. He's not man enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
That demonstration there.
so exactly. So that's a very virility is a very 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 important. Many a time, especially from records that are available, we realize that during that period, men are often respected based on the size of their farm as well as the size of their family. So a man who is impotent, who is incapable of fathering children, is considered less of a man.
Mm,
So women, there is this stereotype that we spoke about earlier of women not having not being able to keep secrets, and then you have something as big as that, if the ballet of the town, like the village head,
he is a villager. It's
and
the
then
ballet.
a huge secret. Yes, yeah, the ballet. Now, a huge secret like our ballet is impotent. Ah,
Mm.
I don't think any woman in Sadiko's shoes, pardon the generalization, will keep that a secret.
You know, she was
Especially,
actually looking at it as a, she was looking at it from the perception of victory, like they've conquered him to a point
Yeah,
where he cannot produce children anymore.
exactly. Like they've finished the old man's juice.
You
You
understand? Like
understand?
there's a rivalry there. It felt like there was some kind of
Yeah.
some gender rivalry
Some
at this
power
point in
play.
time.
Yes, 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 yes.
There. Women are way more powerful or have a stronger prowess sexually, and they are able to conquer his virility status. So
Exactly, exactly. And you realize that they didn't involve Lakunle at the initial stage of their plan. So there is an
yes.
undertone of a gender war there too. This is a man, this is a strong man. Let's come together, two women, let's conspire to bring him down and cut him to size and show him that okay, we are the one. We are stronger, we are capable of out juicing any man. So
Mm.
to your question, of course, Wole Soyinka plays that stereotype perfectly well. Women are incapable of keeping secrets, and it was interesting. I particularly enjoyed that scene.
Okay. Okay, so now let's go further into the scene where CD eventually, egotistically, if you ask me, because I know at this point I'm supposed to be objective based on the analysis and step-by-step procedure we're taking towards all of this. But I'll basically declare her as a stupid girl to an extent. She allowed her ego to go
Okay,
before her, and
okay,
she went to the Ballet's palace at that moment where he was
okay.
wrestling with the counterpart, supposedly his exercise. And she now catches him there, and one way or the other, schematically, she now puts it out to him that she heard about his impotency. Now let's juxtapose the old and the new. Okay. Now I think I have lost my source of power supply. But if you can hear me, let's keep going.
I can hear
All
you.
right. Yes, fantastic. Now I have some power source here to support me. Um, let's let's juxtapose the old and the new. Okay.
Okay,
Cities of the new generation. Baroka is
okay,
of the old generation. Let's juxtapose
okay.
their perceptions. What do you think about that scene?
Now, uh, CD is on a mission, and the only way to confirm our suspicion of the ballet's impotency is to, like they say, the taste of the pudding is in its eating. Is to have a first-hand experience.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know she was being played. You understand? And I think there's another thing we have to consider. I'm sorry if I'm going out of point. Is the issue of consent. That scene, I don't know. It feels like a
He raped.
rapey situation.
Yes, that
You,
was what
you
exact
understand?
thought. I was hoping we'll get to talk about that as soon as we analyze
Okay,
how.
okay, okay, okay. Okay, before we get there, okay, okay. Sorry, I'm sorry I jumped the gun.
No, it's
Um,
fine, fantastic.
yes, that okay. The younger generation, they are more. They are. Let me say they are wilder. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? They are more daring. And then the older generation, they are calculated.
Absolutely.
Straight from Baruka. Baruka strategically came up with a tactic to get Sidi in his bed. He deploys Sadiku to achieve that purpose. Sadiku has our own agenda. Our agenda is to disgrace the ballet, to show
Mm-hmm.
that despite the fact that she's old, she has it in her. She
Mm.
manipulates CD as the tool for achieving or for advancing our agenda. Now, CD, the irrational, hot-headed youth,
Mm.
allowed herself to be used as a pawn in the two old, the in the game played by the let me call them the two Agbayas.
Okay, that's a straight Yoruba insult, but that keep going. You have to look at it back here.
The two Agbayas, and then oh, they've restored power there, and then
Yes, they,
it worked.
yeah,
It worked. It worked. It worked.
it
It was
absolutely
crude,
did.
but it worked.
Now, so will you say that her stupidity, let's just call a spade, led her to where she
Okay.
is?
Well, the point there is, can we say, okay, she was stupid. Let me say she was naive.
Naive is more like it.
Let me,
Okay.
yeah, let me say she was naive. Like, she went there without fully knowing what to expect. She's inexperienced. From all
Mm-hmm.
indication, in fact, not obviously she's a virgin. She has never exactly
Yes,
been with a man before.
yes.
So she's inexperienced. She doesn't know exactly what to expect in that kind of scenario, and she is being played by people who are far older than she is. So I won't blame her. I would call it. I'll probably file it under youthful exuberance.
So how about let's just go straight to the point where eventually Baruka gets to seduce her. I think there was a
Okay.
point of seduction there because when he showcased is it the
This time.
fax machine or so,
Yeah.
and he was not talking about how they're going to have stamps and tags with her face and he's on it, making it look like, okay, since she's a village belle and then he is a lion, we are, he basically he succeeded in are just perfect again. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
There was a
Yeah, I
slight
can hear you. I can hear you.
network. Fantastic. So
Yeah.
he was not trying to make it like he and her are just perfect together, and they definitely will be the perfect match on a stamp. So now, I think that was like a seduction tactics there because as he was saying all these persuasive things, he found himself steady walked his way beside her, sat beside her, and then at that moment she was already feeling too vulnerable to even argue with him or struggle with him. So now, as much as that place looks like if it was there was no consent on her part, don't you think that he successfully seduced her with all those things he said just to encourage her to get in bed with him?
Yeah. Thank you. There's an argument that older men are better lovers,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Baruka exemplifies that a lot. One thing I observed is he did not criticize Lakon.
Oh dear. Bolakale
He
must
also
be
likes
encountering
progress,
privilege.
but only that he considers progress stagnant. So I would call Baruka a master tactician. You understand? He knew
Mm,
exactly what to say. He plays on Siddi's naivety. He plays on our need for attention, our need to be the center of attention, our need to be seen. You understand? Our love for the spotlight.
mm,
And even if at the end of the play there is this suggestion that our consent wasn't uh, sought before the sexual relations between them, I would say Baruka successfully seduced her.
that's actually what I think too. Many actually view it as he raping her because she ran to where Sediko and Lakule were waiting for her and she was crying
Mm-hmm,
and she said she had been
mm-hmm.
defiled. But then we saw that there was a tactic which eventually made her vulnerable to whatever he had planned for her. But now we have already successfully come to the agreement that he seduced her and she complied. Simple and short. But I think she now felt defeated, considering that she went there to mock Baruka. And then she now realized that she had been played.
Mm-hmm.
So I think probably that was the reason why she was actually crying, that she had been defiled.
Yes.
Further, let's just get all of that there, and now let's get to the point where she eventually comes before Lakunle and Sadiku. And okay, before then, there was a dance scene where Lakunle and Sadiku were there together, and I think some people came to demonstrate. Dance around Lakunle, and she was supposed to pay him off and all of that. Despite the traditional dispute that took place there, in the eyes of Sadiku, she was looking at him like he wasn't man enough, basically. Like there were some things that were required of him traditionally that he could not give off because of Western. What do you think about that scene?
The older generation is always very dismissive of the younger ones. You understand? And Lakunle's decision not to pay the bride price, his insistence on not paying the bride price is actually what I consider his greatest undoing. There's this rigidity. Yes. Yeah, he lost out on the jewel of the village. You understand? There is this rigidity about him. This rigidity is idealistic. My favorite part when I was in school, the first time I read this play, I think I was in SS 1 or 2, and then my favorite part of the play is where he used highfalutin expressions to describe the culture. He said barbaric, outdated, excommunicated, and then he went on and on and on with all the big fancy words. Then we consider them big words then, like the fancy words to describe those things. Now Sadiku looks at him and then sees a man who despises our tradition. A man who does that is not worthy of being called a man. You understand? He was seen as a lesser man. And even when CD came out to complain about what has happened, we could see that at that junction he said he has said something along the line like he has tasted the lion. He can't.
She can't go for something less. Yes.
Yeah. You know how Apple products, how they go, once you go Apple, you can't go back.
Yeah.
You understand? She has tasted the lion. There's no way she would go for someone who is, inferior, quote and unquote.
To the lion.
So overall, you see, there is this image of Lakunle being a lesser man.
Initially I was rooting for him.
Yeah, I was too.
I think most people will.
No, it represents us.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Idealistic.
But it was just somewhat disappointing the way he had to look at tradition in a disregarding way. And the part that actually made me lose any sense of respect I had for him eventually was the moment when CD came and were crying that she had been defiled. He now said, "Oh, fantastic. Now he would not have to pay the bride price because there's nothing special about her anymore." So it's like, why would you actually say that? I'm just looking at it from a place. Why would you say that?
No. I think you should give him credit for even this. That his decision to go ahead and marry her, despite knowing she has been defiled, should get him credit. They live in a society where a woman who has been defiled is considered spoiled good, like bad markets, to use the popular parlance. But this is a young man that says he doesn't mind. Of course, he was opportunistic about the whole thing. He had no intention of paying the bride price from the get-go. And then yeah, her defilement gave him the perfect opportunity to go ahead and say, yeah, no
And
wala.
definitely,
Let me take it like that.
what actually baffled me was the way she even went about it. Like you initially said, when you once go Apple, you can't go anywhere else.
Yeah, you
She
can go back.
went, I've tasted the lion. So there's sexual connotation in that entire
See,
scene there.
the,
Like
the,
Oka was so sexually perfect with his arrangement that she she cannot be with any other person besides Baruka himself.
when we
Now,
when
how sexual did Shoika went there?
now I have to say that the writers of that generation knew how to write about sex in a way that is totally impressive. They talk about
Totally.
this thing without talking about it. There is a subtle way they drop it. Like they drop ideas in windows that that suggest sex without actually going all out to say, okay, we're talking about sex.
Yeah.
Baroka is
And it makes them
depicted in a
smart.
way. Ooh, now it's
Yeah,
my turn to be. Yeah.
it is fun.
I,
Please keep going.
okay. The Baroka is described as a sexual god.
Hmm.
You understand? That is why Sadiko is ecstatic about the idea of conquering him, like being responsible for his lack of virility.
Hmm.
You understand?
Hmm.
We have conquered this man, this Apollo of a man, this man
Yes.
who has the image of.
Sexual
You
God. And
understand?
at this moment,
Yeah.
impotent.
And then CD went in, have it, took a bite, a taste,
Hmm.
and then came out to
And did not want to go anywhere else.
openly admit, to glorify him and say, oh my God, I've gone Baroka. I can't go
I
any
cannot
other
go
way.
anywhere
At that
else.
point, no, I can't. Like, this is it. This is the height. This is it.
Ah,
This is it. Like,
no,
that's
I
that
like
that's
how the
saying, oh, I love how that scene played out. I was gutted for Lakunle. I was
Me
gutted for
too.
him because I
Me too.
I felt they would have been a perfect match.
I think so too, and I think that he really stressed himself way too much. Well, anyways, I think we have dealt with this aspect already. Let's
Okay.
discuss each character individually. Let's start with CD.
Okay.
CD is
Okay.
known as Village Belle, and she was depicted as an egotistic, beautiful girl, like you initially said, naive, unaware of her environment and some of the tactics that are involved, especially when it comes to relationships and sexual relationships, given that she's a virgin. So definitely she's naive. And you see the process where she's being wooed by Lakwele and all. And then let's talk about the fact that she was eventually, will I use the word idolized by being on the front page of a magazine. Now, let's pick her as a character to display, or rather to portray the youthful mind.
Mhm.
What do you think about the character of CD?
I think CD, like I said earlier, CD is a fully realized character. Like she, there is an authenticity about her. Like she's very authentic. She's like
Hmm.
the average girl, attention seeking, wants to be the most important person in the room, wants to receive all the attention, the accolades. And then time and time and time and time again, when an individual lacks this kind of this lacks self-awareness at that level, it often ends tragically. Like they end up losing something.
Hmm.
In our case,
she loses her virginity in a way she didn't intend to. Do you understand? So the our mistakes are mistakes. There are errors that are characteristics of there are things that youth end up doing, miscalculations. They don't understand when they are being manipulated. They are driven by their ego, and more often than not, older generations often play on their naivety and their lack of experience.
So
So
at this point, experience is the best teacher.
yes, experience is the best teacher.
Okay. So, do we display her? Now, let's talk about she being either a round or flat character. Will you describe her as a round character or a flat character?
Well, I would call her a round character because her experience changed her perspective.
Fair
Eventually, she
enough.
came to the realization she came to the realization that she was being played,
Mm.
and then she at the end of the play, she weighs her options to go with Baroka or to go with Lakunle. And from my perspective, or from uh, a hypergamistic, pardon me, let me use that word, hypergamy. Women getting married for financial reasons. Hypergamy is as old as the human race. So from an
Mm.
hypergamistic perspective, she went with the option that
She's feeling
provides
privileged too.
us security.
Yes.
You understand? So I would
Mm.
say her character was fully realized. She went from being a naive, stupid,
To a woman in your own description.
not idealistic at all. She was
Okay.
not. She wasn't.
Well, we have a lot to, on the idealistic aspect. But then let's go further to Lakuli now. Let's be like
Okay.
the representation of westernization. Luckily, I would say his level of westernization was half baked because it's not like he was
Okay.
totally aware. He did not even gone to as far as Lagos because he was still dwelling with the idea of Lagos women, etc. That was how far his Western perception went. Lagos for Lakunle was like the Europe that he wished he could be in or be a part of. So,
Mhm.
how far do you think using the character of Lakunle now
Okay.
to juxtapose westernization and traditional system of
Okay.
existence, for
Thank you.
traditionalism, give you that total
Thank
total idea. How do you portray, how do you use the character of Black Only to portray all of that?
All right. Now I think Lakunle, um, there is cultural conflict. There's a conflict within him. He's not a fully modernized or westernized um, individual like he likes to pretend. He picks his progressive opinion when it suits him.
Hmm.
You understand? Like there are instances where where he lets go of that, and this is somebody who understands the tradition, and then he fails to respect it.
Hmm.
All he wants to do, there's a selfishness about him. You understand? And
Yeah.
for me, I think he's half baked. He's not exactly a full. He's not exactly an intellectual. Like I call him a pretender.
Fully.
You understand? Yeah,
Fully. Because
he's a
if you observe,
pretender.
he went further, some of the scenes where they showed the music, the dance scenes rather, where some
Hmm.
girls came around and then he was now trying to touch their butt at the end when he was
Yeah.
doing, yes, so he was not trying to touch their backside, and it just occurred that, oh, you were not even sincere about how you felt about Celia after all. If you were, you wouldn't have done that.
Exactly. This is an opportunist. He's an opportunist. Like, it was just.
So now, will you call him
It's
a round of applause?
now. I don't know. I'm very conflicted about him.
On him being,
I would say, yeah, it wouldn't been a flat or round character. It was idealistic to the end, but then the fact that he became more practical too. At least the fact that he ran after the girl that brought close to him, and then he hit the butt. The girl ran, and then he ran after him. I think
ran
that
after
sense suggests that, okay, maybe Lakunle has finally found another um,
person to
art
play
through
with.
or something. You
Okay.
understand? So that's the part. Now, if you take that part out of the whole play, I would consider him a flat character because he kept on being and being he maintained his position from the beginning of the play to the end. You know, when we talk about a round character is shaped by experience.
My experience,
You understand?
exactly.
They move from ignorance or innocence to experience.
Experience,
So
exactly.
it's very
That's
difficult for us to say. It's very difficult for us to say Lakunle's experiences have shaped him. That final scene is inconclusive.
it's quite
There is a lot
inconclusive.
to be made out of it. You
He's a
understand?
black character.
So it's very difficult. So I would call him on the merit of that. I would call him a flat character.
I agree with you too. So now let's quickly dive into Sadiko. What do you think about her representation of women of that time, whose occupation, if you ask me, especially as the first wife of the Baroka, is to recruit women for him? What do you think about that role and the representation of women of that time?
Okay. Now the setting, when we talk about setting, we talk about the physical and the sociological location, the period and time that the play is set. Now,
Yes.
patriarchy was a big deal during that period. Women are considered inferior to men. They are subjected to the whims of their husbands. So I would say Sadiko is helpless in that role. Like it wasn't a task he could have denied, or it wasn't something it wasn't something she could have said, I don't want to do. You
Yes.
understand?
As an
But,
right.
by the same time, we can see that she's also very smart. She has her own agenda. She went with she wanted to cut Baroka to size, and
That's the one.
she decided to use CD for that purpose. So behind the whole submissiveness, there is a smart, practical woman there who knew what
So
she wanted and how to get it.
I know we did speak something, I say something about the whole gender war that was taking place there. But
Yes,
then
yes,
with
yes.
some of the displays, some of the things that she did at that point in time, I initially
Okay.
at the back of my mind doing analyzing the work itself, I'll say there was a touch of feminism every step of the way. What do you think? That her rivalry against Baroka at that time, what do you think she was trying to portray?
Okay. Yeah, I think in any society where a group is subjected, there will always be rebellion. You understand? A rivalry um with Baroka is our own way of rebelling against the 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 order, the way things are. So there is let me call it a sprinkle of feminism there. It failed.
it failed eventually. The dominance of men was eventually established. You understand? But then there was this quest for equality, this quest to bring down the men. You understand? And to bring down the men to you know to parity, so to speak.
Yeah.
So there is an undertone of feminism there, not fully realized, but it's there.
But it's
It's
there.
there.
Okay,
It's there.
I think we have about minutes to go, so we'll just see how we could just wrap this up before Facebook decides to cut us off. What do we call her, a flat or a round character?
A flat character.
Straight to the
A
point.
flat character.
Let's go to
Flat character.
what do we think about Baroka? He being depicted as a lion himself, like you rightly said. If we look at it figuratively, is an allegory. He on his own is an allegory. Okay, so what do you think about the character of Baroka?
Baroka is a smart man, calculative. In fact, he is the perfect depiction of a lion. The lion doesn't just attack. The lion assesses,
His prey
comes up with
first.
best. Baroka has gone after CD in the past, and then CD has openly rebuffed his approach. And then he went back, came up with a strategy that worked. You understand? So Baroka is allegorically the lion. And
So do we call him?
it was successful. The problem with boxing Baroka into that thing is Baroka came fully made.
That's the word. Fully made, indeed. That's the word.
He came fully made. He came fully made. It was not experience that shaped him. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and then he did it. So I don't think he fits into the round character thing. If we are going with the conventional definition of what a round character is, I don't think Baroka fits in.
He definitely was a flat character then. I think okay, I think we have about 5 minutes to go. So Bolakale, we'll just see how we can wrap up quickly on the themes of the book itself. Now, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
There are 3 themes. Whatever that is. For the record, it's not COVID. Let me do some water.
You got jokes.
All right. So we have 3 themes here. We have the corrupted African culture, and then marginalization of women as property, like you rightly mentioned, talking about how patriarchy was rule at that time, and then the conflict between education and traditional beliefs. Now, I want us to just elaborate on the conflict between education and traditional beliefs, because every other one we have already expanded on it. Let's talk about the conflict between education and traditional beliefs. I think we can do that in 3 minutes successfully. What do you think about that?
Okay. Now, I think it's lackingly. I think the whole bride price issue is the bride price motif is what best what depicts that thematic preoccupation. We have lackingly here the educated man who believes that why should I pay a bride price? Are you selling your daughter to me? And then we have the older generation, holding on to it, and then CD2 believing that okay, the bride price is an important aspect of our culture, that we should not allow Western incursion to erode. We should go ahead and maintain it. We have to keep this thing because without our culture, we are nobody. You understand? So there is the conflict was there throughout. There was a tension at every point between education and then there's also another issue again. There is
a subplot or an incident where the stranger or the white man had plans to build railway tracks to pass Ilujinle. That's the name of the town.
Yes,
And then
Ilujinle.
Baruka bribed him not to do that.
Yes.
I think lack of
Baruka
education there. Pardon me.
Baruka he disputed it. He said it was a rumor.
Okay, okay. I don't think we have time. Let's quickly see how we can discuss other issues there. Other
Definitely,
things.
definitely.
What
But
else do we
then,
have apart from a thematic preoccupation?
well, besides the thematic preoccupation there, which successfully we have dissected to an extent, I think that would be about it for now.
Okay.
Definitely, that'll be about it for now. But I do know there is still a lot more to discuss in this book, which I hope we get
There is.
so on the part 2 basis again. And then on this time, we'll get the second part rather, we'll get to talk about the idioms and various figures of speech that are portrayed in this book. And we get to talk about how far this piece represents or reflects our society of today. You know, they say writers are prophets. So we just want to see how specific piece also says something about our society today. Bola, I am most grateful to you for being here with me today. Hopefully, we get to do this again. And I am thankful for you coming on board. Thank you. We get to do part 2 of this very soon. In the meantime, thank you to each and every person who came on board. I am really thankful to you as well. And I do hope that you have learned something today from our discourse. We get to do a part 2 of this. Probably we'll be more segmental about this next time. And being segmental will now be more technical. So you get to learn properly every step of the way. My name Okay. Thank you again to everyone. Have a pleasant night.